a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for May 1st, 2024. I forgot the date for a second. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game S Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, is the industry in trouble as hardware sales fall and two massive games get potential 2024 release dates? But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game S Mornings. It's Lucy James, everybody. Lucy, how are you doing?
Hello, it's gonna be me.
Oh, there it is. Hell yeah.
There it is.
It's gonna be me. I'll do it as well.
There we go.
Give everybody a little taste of it. Lucy, my understanding is you are Middle Earth Enterprises' best friend. Is that how you describe yourself?
When they describe Middle Earth Enterprises and friends, there's only one. And
they're talking about, the rest are being paid to be their friends. You are just there through the thick and thin, good times and the bad.
Hangers on, okay?
Yeah.
Some of us went to see The Hobbit day one.
That's right. In high frame rate, you didn't care. Actually, did you ever see the high frame rate versions?
Yes. So I actually went. Okay. So this is like a curl of a monkey's paw moment for me. Is that I went to go and see The Hobbit 1 and 3. Not the middle one, but 1 and 3. I went to the movie premieres.
Ooh.
In London.
Oh.
But it was for The Hobbit 1 and 3.
I mean, listen, if you're going to go see a movie like that, make it an event and have other reasons to remember it is maybe a good thing. I don't know.
No, I mean,
I've never really seen the Hobbit movies. I don't have an opinion on them. Okay.
I did walk past Peter Jackson. And I was just, when it's one of those moments where I was like, I can't meet this man. I can't meet him. And I just went, So, Jan says he loves the Hobbit movies, and you know what? I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. I haven't seen them in a long time. I do have the extended versions now. Maybe I will go back and watch them. Probably not. Yeah,
because that's the thing The Hobbit needed, was to be stretched even more. That's what they needed to do with that film franchise.
Well, with that Tales of the Shire game coming out from Weta, you know what? I'm excited. That's all I need. That's my Hobbit fix.
I'm interested because it's very much the concept that I like of, hey, these hobbits don't seem to care about all this stuff that's happening in the world. So yeah, they're just going to keep farming, and a game that is all about that. I love that. That's a cool idea.
I mean, I don't know when it's set though. It could be
peacetime, as you think? I
think it might not be during the time of the War of the Ring.
Honestly, though, it doesn't matter.
Which would make
if it is,
sense.
Yeah,
I think it would actually be nice, because otherwise, I don't want, I don't know, Gandalf. Well, Gandalf probably will pop in just because he's such a well-known character. There, yeah. But I don't want Gandalf coming and riling up all of my Hobbit neighbors to be like, guys, come on.
He's such a troublemaker. Why is he such an agitator? That Gandalf.
Gandalf Stormcrow.
All right. You know what? It's been some time since you've been here. How was all your travels? Do you feel like in touch with the video game news? You ready to get into all that stuff? What was that like to be traveling so much?
It was kind of nice because when I was traveling and I went to BAFTA, so I was touching gamer grass, I guess.
It sounds like catnip for gamers is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I was in person with everyone and catching up and stuff. But then I definitely took a week when I was with my family to just kind of decompress a little bit.
Good.
And then I came back and I was sick and jet lagged, which is the great combo. Yep. So I actually do feel like I'm really not on top of the Tarkov stuff.
Yeah, that one's it's very insulated, but that's such a big community that's also very loud and worth paying attention to. But I don't know. Right now, it seems like the developers are in the bartering phase of the stages of grief, and they're like, okay, please, can we just make this work? And the fans aren't having it. So we'll see where that ends up. I bet it ends up with most people still playing Tarkov at the end of the day. Although
probably
that Gray Zone game, it's having server issues, but people are at least interested in it, and it's hitting at the right time, so maybe it has a chance.
Yeah, I remember. I remember covering that game last year when it first came out. When it first was picking up steam a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah, that's probably going to find a big market. And so obviously sad to hear it's going to have server issues, but at this point, I have server issues.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. You know what? Let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with... real quick, I was on Ben Hansen's Trivia Tower thing, and he said, say your catchphrase, and I said, hello, YouTube. He's like, no, it's the internet, you're busy, let's do this. Which one do you think is more my catchphrase, Lucy?
I love the way you say hello, YouTube.
I think that's the one people are more attached to, yes.
But I do think it's the internet, you're busy, let's do this is like, I think you can have multiple catchphrases.
There it is. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's get into it with the April 2024 Circana report. This comes from Matt Piscatella at Circana, who I did want to get on when the next one of these Circana reports dropped, and I just forgot. So we'll try to definitely make it happen next time. He has the date on his Twitter account. We'll have him on the show for the next one. All right. This is for April 2024. He says March. Is that? Oh, no, this would be March because this is April just ended. What am I talking about? So this is the March 2024 Circana report. Video game market highlights from Circana. Projected total U.S. spending on video game hardware, content, and accessories gained 4% in March 2024 versus a year ago, reaching a total of $4.9 billion. That was mostly powered by mobile content spending, which grew 15%, setting off a 32% drop in hardware sales. U.S. video game projected total market consumer spending, 13-month rolling consumer spending by month and change versus prior year. This is like a chart here, and it shows kind of like things are mostly like stagnant's maybe not the right word, but they're steady. There's definitely some up months in like the late part of last year, and then things dropped back down to right around where they were before the holiday season. So things are mostly maintaining a lot of that energy, but things are year over year. Hardware sales specifically is the big thing that is kind of scary. Well, there's a lot more data here, but hardware sales dropping, what is it, 32% year over year. I think people will point out, well, that's mostly Xbox, and PlayStation seems to be doing fine, and the Switch is obviously at the end of its life cycle, and that could have replaced things. So, this is just bad news for one company, right? And it's like, well, people who make games want there to be more hardware out there. They don't really care what the platform is. This is the console war is a manufactured thing. So at the end of the day, fewer people are buying consoles, and that seems like it could be a problem down the road. Is that your view, Lucy?
I mean, yeah, the console space as it stands right now is in just such a weird spot. You've got Xbox seemingly backing out, or at least kind of reducing their
emphasis, right?
Kind of just spreading out, and they're becoming more of this multifaceted company, focusing more on the streaming, more on becoming a publisher. PlayStation just doesn't have anything for this year. Like, why would you buy a PlayStation 5 for a new game if you don't already have one at this point, unless they're going to release, both of them, or at least going to release some kind of console refresh. But then you get to the ultimate, we are approaching this ultimate end game issue with consoles. It's like, how fast can we get?
Yep.
What fidelity can we get? What is the end goal? Is this just going to we're just going to keep having new consoles for the rest of our lives, or is it going to become this, are we going to reach an end game?
Yep.
With Thanos. But yeah, I mean, in terms of AAA releases that would typically encourage people to buy a console if they don't already, like we'll certainly probably get to Final Fantasy, but like there hasn't been anything to really encourage people to get a new console recently. And I mean, that's the thing. I say that in terms of AAA releases. I am playing more incredible games than ever this year, but they're all on PC. Yeah,
and that's a subject we're going to get to here in a second. In fact, let's like work our way there. So the top selling games in March 2024, Dragon's Dogma 2 topped the list. Right behind it was Helldivers 2, repeating a very strong performance from its first month, where it was number 1. Now it was number 2 this month. It beat out MLB The Show 24, which did launch in March. It also beat out Rise of the Ronin, Princess Peach Showtime, Unicorn Overlord, WWE teams on the chart that are also all in the top 10. Several new game releases in the top 10 is always a good sign. And yet these aren't the ones that are pushing hardware. I think Helldivers 2, Dragon's Dogma 2, these are games that are being very successful, really popping off. To your point, Lucy, I don't think these are at the same time games that are making people who didn't already buy into the console market want to buy into the console market. These are games that really are hitting with people who would already have a console, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, because it's like MLB, I feel like if you're picking up an MLB or any other sports game, you're already kind of invested in that.
Yeah.
Helldivers, though, yeah, I mean,
I think
Helldivers, also, like, Helldivers is still great, but it just also feels like, that was a couple months ago now, and
yeah, I mean, it's still doing. I think even in the heat of the moment in that first month, I think it was doing success. It was succeeding with people who were already paying attention. And I think there is a barrier between the people who've already gotten into the console generation for PS5, Xbox Series X, and the people that are waiting on the sideline. And I don't think Helldivers 2, even when it is popping up in their TikTok feeds or whatever, when it goes viral, I don't think that's the thing that is getting a lot of people to jump aboard the generation. Not that it needs to be. This is not a knock on Helldivers 2. I think Helldivers 2 is exactly what it needs to be. Clearly very successful. It's just, these games that can put hardware sales on their back and carry the entire industry, those are few and far between. I think the next one we're really looking at that is a guarantee, clearly GTA 6. Is there anything up until that point? That's a big question. And I think the report here, as Matt Piscatella, he'll give his insight. We'll read some more of this here in a second. Like his point is like, man, the industry could really use the Switch 2 for hardware sales, and then also a game like GTA 6 would hit really well this year. But they're both coming out next year. That's why it's like everyone's just trying to survive to 25 continues to be the mantra. So when we look at some of these other charts of like the most played games on each console platform and PC, one thing I noticed is like for PlayStation and Xbox, it's there's only one new game on the list between the both of them, and it is MLB The Show 24 on Xbox at number 10. Outside of that, it is all games that have been on these charts for a while. Obviously, the top three are things like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and Grand Theft Auto 5, and that's the same for both consoles. I mean, Roblox, Minecraft.
Wait, can we talk about the PlayStation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did this go on PS Plus? Is that why Sifu's on there?
That's almost certainly what that is. Yes, yeah. I would assume like,
that. Everything else, Roblox, Sifu.
Yes. So that's the one that did climb. That's essentially like a new game hitting the top 10 most played games when it goes from 151 last month to number 9 this month. Now, look at PC. So Helldivers 2 is number 1. And Helldivers 2, that's okay. That's number 5 on a PlayStation. But then you have things like Balatro at number 4 and Dragon's Dogma 2, most played Steam game at number 6. Stardew Valley popping back up at number 7 because it got an update. New
update.
Yes, Last Epoch.
I mean, Rocket League being still like hanging around 8 and 9. Elden Ring holding strong at 10 because everyone will be like, hang on, that must have been around the time that the DLC trailer maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, Rocket League always is doing very well on Steam, even though it's like...
I meant Elden Ring, like the DLC trailer. That's why people are like, yes, I should replay that before the DLC.
Yeah, I mean, I bet that, I'm sure that helped, but it was number 10 last month too. So Elden Ring 2 months in a row, number 10. I think that's just where that game goes. Now, I think the point here is like, Counter-Strike 2 is still the number 2 most played game, was number 3 last month. It's always going to be around that zone, but it just seems like there's more chance to make headway on PC because I think the console players are like, man, I got this console. It's expensive to buy games. I'm going to play the same games with my friends because I know that's a safe bet. And it just seems like that is becoming more and more of a problem that is causing stagnation across the console space, which I think is feeding this issue where there's not a lot of excitement to get people to buy new hardware. I know, you and I are both kind of PC first at this point. It does kind of feel I'm more excited over what's happening on PC at the moment. I'm going to be playing Manor Lords here later today. And this is another one of these games that has really just shot to the top of the charts out of nowhere after that's happened multiple times on PC this year with Pal World and then Helldivers 2, which is also on PlayStation. But still, I think I'm just always more curious about what's happening on PC because it feels like anything can happen there. And I don't get the same sense from the consoles. Is that Does that echo how you feel?
I think just in terms of ease of access for me, just because when it comes to PC, like I am fortunate enough to have a really big hard drive and I can just download anything and
sure.
There it is. And something that I've got a bunch of games that I downloaded ages ago. I'm like, oh yeah, I do need to get back to, I do need to finish Botany Manor or something. And hey, it's right there waiting for me. But also just in terms of, I think in terms of like, this is maybe just my friends, but it's like zeitgeisty games, like things like Manor etc. Like I see people playing them on my friends list. I'm like, oh, yeah, I could pop in on that. Whereas on PlayStation, it's just kind of everyone is playing the same like 3 games because they are the big releases that have hit PlayStation or the 3 releases that have hit Xbox. And so, right now, I'm kind of prepping. Because like Hellblade is just about to come out, so I'm going to replay Hellblade, and then I don't know. I think just in terms of the fact that I'm fully in that PC kind of ecosystem, probably because I just got off the back of a bunch of travel, and I was Steam Deck for 2 weeks, and play at my dad's house, just being like, oh, I'm just going to play. What the hell was I playing? Balatro again, at my dad's or something, and then I've come back, and I'm like. And I've hit puberty.
It's the thick American air is just making your voice crack a little bit. That's all. Balatro is like the kind of thing where I really do. It stands out to me. So it launched the previous month, and it was the 19th most played game on Steam, and then that word of mouth carries and carries and carries to make it number 4 most played game on Steam the following month. And again, not to say these stories aren't happening on console. It just, in my estimation, seems like it's more frequently happening on PC. And this, I think that anything can happen. Any game can come out of nowhere and surprise people. Attribute does kind of make PC gaming feel a little bit more dynamic to me at this point. Well, I think the console companies this is not like necessarily the biggest fish to fry to like figure out how to get that dynamism back. I think they're just like, we need the biggest games at the moment to really catch people's attention, especially with like the summer announcement season coming up. But I think in long term, them figuring out ways to make their stores feel like anything can come out and succeed in the way that like Pal World has and Manor Lord has. Is that something they can replicate? Because Pal World was on Game Pass. That seemed like that worked, but is it always gonna have to be like someone from Xbox goes out, finds one of these games, approves it to be on Game Pass? That process seems laborious and not like the kind of thing where like anything can happen. So we'll see. I think the console generation is over or something like that. It does feel like it's going to be in a lull, and then GTA 6 will happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if that game alone carries the rest of this generation another couple of years on its own. Looking at some how these games have done, Dragon's Dogma 2 debuted as the best-selling premium game of March and the 3rd best-selling game of 2024 year to date. That's just with 1 month on the market. And then Dragon's Dogma 2 has already surpassed the life-to-date tracked dollar sales of Dragon's Dogma and Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen combined. So Capcom succeeded at the plan, right? The plan was, let's really reinvest in one of these franchises that seems like on the precipice, see if we can carry it over to the next level. They obviously just did, right? That's what's happening with Dragon's Dogma.
Yep. I mean, who would have thought back in, was it 2012 when that first one came out?
Yeah. Right.
Damn, not me.
Yep. Yeah. Look at us now. Yep. Helldivers 2 remains the best-selling premium game of 2024 year to date after placing 2nd in March. Helldivers 2 currently ranks 7th in lifetime US dollar sales for a Sony-published title after just 2 months on the market.
That is nuts.
Isn't that nuts?
I love that. Congrats to them.
Yes. Like, again, look at us now. Who would have thought? This is a game that, I think is going to really change the way Sony thinks about how it's going to be publishing games going forward. You can't ignore that. 2 months, and it's already beat out every single other. It's made more money than every single other game you've ever made, except for 6. And it's probably going to catch up to those pretty quick if it keeps at this pace. So, and it's not even like a $70 game, right? It's like a $40 game. And we're talking about this is Circana tracks dollar sales. So in terms of volume sold, it is above and beyond. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth remained the 4th best-selling game of 2024 year to date, despite falling 5 spots in monthly rankings to the 7th in March after placing 2nd in February. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth remained the 4th best-selling game of 2024 year to date. Oh, I'm repeating myself.
Hello.
There was another note here where it was basically like it's like the 14th best-selling Final Fantasy game so far. The number one in terms of making money is Final Fantasy 14. And then the second best was like Final Fantasy VII Remake. And then another one was in there. But it's really want to ask you.
Early days.
Yeah. Early days. How are we feeling about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Because as I look at this number, I'm like, 7th. It's doing okay. I think it's probably doing a little bit better than the sort of pronouncements have made it sound like up to this point. What do you think?
I mean, I think you have to talk about it within the context of Square's recent announcement with the $140 million loss they're planning to post.
So the $140 million in content abandonment losses. So $140 million worth of investment that they spent making games that they are not going to put out. They said these are HD console games. We talked about this on the Bombcast yesterday. People are speculating, is this Final Fantasy? Is this Dragon Quest? It's likely not those properties. It's everything else. Like people forget Square Enix does a ton of games. There was Harvestella and Various Day Life and Quiet Man and
hey, we'll never forget the Quiet Man.
We'll never forget the Quiet Man.
So obviously, those projections and whatever would have been made after their last year. This wouldn't probably. I don't think this would have included Rebirth, but 16 maybe not performing as hot as they wanted it to, and then Rebirth, it kind of feels, I don't know, I think I've soured on Rebirth more the longer that I've spent away from it. Actually, I soured on it as I was playing it. Chapter 11 onwards, chapter 10 onwards. Oh boy, what a mess.
Oh boy.
Oh, did you play that?
No, I did not play that far. I don't know if I'm going to keep playing Rebirth. I think I'm so busy with other stuff. I think I'm good. I really like the combat system. But that's kind of like the big attraction for me, and I'm like, I'm okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. Doesn't feel good. The sharks feel like they're circling a little bit around Square, and I worry about.
Yeah, but
if they're going to be,
but they're not they're going to put out the third part of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh no. I mean in terms of layoff stuff. You can't.
Sure, yeah.
Say that you're going to post $140 million loss and then no one on suffering for it.
So, one of the things they said as part of that is they're going to do fewer partnerships and bring more of their development internally. That'll help. But there's several other games that were developed internally. It's not like all of those are winners either. There was definitely some problems there.
Yeah. Oh God, Kingdom Hearts will be back.
Kingdom Hearts 4 is inevitable, and I think all those Dragon Quest projects will probably continue. Those are the ones that they'll double down on those.
Kingdom Hearts 3 really sell?
I have no idea.
Is Kingdom Hearts an actual seller?
I think so, but I really don't know. I guess I have not really paid attention to that. So I'm
gonna Google it.
Yeah, go ahead. In the meantime, February video game
6.7 million.
Okay, so yeah, that's more than the reported number for Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was 5 million. Of course, it's sold more since then because there's been several updates and versions and ports and stuff like that. So
3 was multi-platform, right? It was Xbox.
Yes, it was definitely on Xbox. I remember because it was it hit Game Pass eventually, and that's where I was like, I guess maybe I'll let the kids check this out.
I remember seeing it on an Xbox showcase at E3. When it was on it was on the Square presentation, it was its PlayStation, and it was at Xbox, but for some reason the version they played on the Xbox showcase either didn't have music or didn't have sound effects. There was something really weird with the audio mixing, and it was do that deliberately.
Yeah.
On the Xbox one.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was so strange. Yeah, it was are they just bad at this? I remember thinking that.
So weird. Yeah, weird.
All right, hardware spending fell the aforementioned 32% when compared to a year ago to $391 million. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Switch spending each declined a minimum of 30% year on year. So everybody's down 30% or more year over year. That's okay. Now, Switch, that's expected. For PlayStation, Xbox, it's not completely unexpected, but it's a sharper decline than what is normal for this point of the generation. And again, all the reasons we talked about, I think are happening here. I also do think people are maybe beginning to penny pinch, right? I think people are like,
well, yeah, cost of living crisis.
Of living crisis, like the prices do keep going up, and we have to pull back somewhere. And it feels like entertainment discretionary spending is getting hit pretty hard. And video games have been immune to a lot of stuff, but not forever.
Yeah, and so many industries. I mean, obviously tech for sure. Gaming were hit with layoffs and stuff, but it was just like, oh yeah, just a lot of poor people going. Not poor people, but a lot of people going through some unfortunate times.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Hardware spending finished the first quarter down 24% versus the first quarter of 2023. February video game hardware spending. Let's see. There's more here. Yes, video game hardware spending. I just repeated the same thing 3 times. Again, I'm just really good at copying and pasting. Apparently, the DualSense Edge was the best-selling accessory in dollar sales for both March and the first quarter. I think that hardware will probably bounce back as soon as people get excited about big announcements happening. I don't even think the games have to come out. And I think if Sony does have this, showcase that I keep hearing might happen in May, something's happening in May, whether it's a showcase or not, I'm not positive. But if they have a big showcase and there's like big announcements, I think that alone kind of kickstarts and gets people excited once again, especially if it's like entries in franchises that people haven't heard from in a while. Now we know that they've promised no major franchise sequels this year, and that's up till March of next year. But still, I think there could be some surprises in there. Hopefully there are. And even if it's like, and this game will come out in summer of 2025, I think getting people excited about PS5 and then the Pro coming out, that'll help. For Xbox, we got a report coming up here in a second where it's like, hey, they got some big games coming out this holiday. And if they can have a very strong, Summer Game Fest presence, I think that solves a lot of their problems for the immediate future. But we'll see. Yep. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we have a lot more headlines to get into, including Endless Ocean Luminous review roundup, and something happened with Indiana Jones right after this. All right, we are back, and let's get into it. Those reviews are in for Endless Ocean Luminous. This is from Jim Norman at Nintendo Life, who did a good job of capturing all these reviews from various sites.
When you said, do you feel out of the loop because you've been traveling?
Yeah,
I have no idea what this game is.
Yes, did you watch the Nintendo Partner Direct in March? Do you remember that? Yeah, so that was like, didn't make a huge splash because there was no Nintendo first party stuff in there, and got a huge splash from this ocean game. This is the one more thing where it's like,
okay,
the ocean exploration game.
I did see whoever reviewed it for IGN tweeted about it, so I saw that tweet.
Okay, yes. So, IGN gave it a 4 out of 10. That's our first one here. Rather than providing a relaxing undersea escape, Luminous's repetitive tasks and uninspiring environments are boring and forgettable from the start. Silicon Era gave it a 5 out of 10. If you're looking for a chill way to pass the time, or if you have a child who is interested in learning about marine life, oh my God, she's right there, I'd recommend trying it out, but you may be disappointed if you're looking for anything more than that. Oh, there's meeps in the game. Addie, she's sleeping. VGC gave it a 3 out of 5. It would, of course, be foolish to expect richly detailed environments with ray trace lighting splitting through the surface, but some suspension of disbelief is still needed to truly appreciate Endless Ocean Luminous. This is a thing that it's like, this is a vibes game, and you're under the water, and people are like, yeah, I mean, it's cool, but it would be better if it was like a graphical showpiece. If it felt like you can get like immersed in the world, and it's on Switch, so it's not that. There were some slightly better reviews. They really were mixed. I think we got God is a Geek given an 8 out of 10. Endless Ocean Luminous is a relaxing, engrossing adventure that is as much a celebration of the ocean as it is a collectathon box-ticking exercise, and I kind of adore it. And then Gfinity gave it an 8 out of 10. This is a simple yet elegant experience that not everyone will appreciate, but those who do are in for something unforgettable. I am someone who is a little bit curious about this, and these reviews have me thinking like, I can probably pass on it, but my kids do like marine life, so maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll get it for them.
They play another Crab's Treasure, but on turn all the difficulty down.
That's a good idea, except like my kids, especially Addie, does hate it when meeps get hurt, and so if it's a game about hurting other meeps, I mean, I'll put it in front of her and I'll see.
You do hit little crabs, but at one point you can give Krill a gun.
Yes, and I like that quite a bit. I'm a big fan of giving crabs guns. That's what that's my political platform, and we're out there. We're gonna run on it. All right. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle launches this December. Avowed in November. This is according to a report, which is reported on by Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Yesterday, it was announced that Xbox would be holding its Mega Games Summer Showcase on the 9th of June. Nice. While we're all expecting Call of Duty news to follow the regular showcase, what is going to be packed in that initial show remains largely unknown. However, a new report from The Verge's Tom Warren might indicate some release windows we'll see announced at this showcase. Namely, Warren expects that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will see a December launch date, with Avowed getting a November one. We already know Avowed is set for the autumn/fall this year. Could have just said one of those, just for autumn. And Indiana Jones.
Well, no, because Tom Warren's British, right?
Okay, what's the difference?
Autumn is what we call fall.
Yeah, right. But he says autumn/fall. So
maybe he's just doing it so the Brits feel good.
We call fall autumn sometimes.
I'm fed up of saying fall. Fall is no.
Listen, I think autumn's a better sounding word too. I'm with you, and we understand both. It's either way. And then that'd be the December 2024 for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And we do know that's supposed to come in 2024. Also, Microsoft says they're going to have Starfield's shattered space expansion sometime this autumn as well. We could see it in September. I have heard similar things to Tom here. I've not been able to confirm them, so this is not me being like corroborated. I'm just saying, like, yeah, this is out there. Tom seems to know what he's talking about. I trust his reporting on this. That seems like a pretty decent year for Xbox, right? If we get Hellblade 2 next month and it does well, and then we get some other things between now and then later this year we get Avowed in November and Indiana Jones in December. As long as everything hits pretty decently, I think that is a successful year for Microsoft, right? It's my damn headphone stand. I don't know why I don't move it. I'm gonna put it over here, I think.
I mean, the one thing I would say about a December release date, maybe just because we live in a
okay,
that was a comedy sound effect.
Okay, look,
you joking?
Yes, I'm joking. That was deliberate. I'm just trying to make everybody have a good day. I'm doing these things on purpose. Oof.
I was going to say, so we live in a Game Awards world now, and it feels really weird to have a game, especially one as... Okay, Peanut, you click that carpet.
Peanut wants in on the action.
Yeah, Peanut's like... as one as big as Indiana Jones is backed by Xbox to come out in December, so it's kind of not eligible for Game Awards stuff to be, to get those flowers at the end of the year, hopefully. So maybe that's just because of the way that the world works now. It just doesn't feel like December releases. What was the last big December release? Cyberpunk
2077 was a very big December release. There's been, Avatar, the Avatar Blue People video game came out in December of last year. That's just massive. Why are you tilting your head at me?
What a splash
was made. I think December releases can succeed and can do better. I think you're right that this is trouble for game of the year, but at a certain point, you kind of have to ignore that and just pick a date and go for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's the thing. Like, if you have to do that in terms of your pipeline, it's you don't want to crunch. That's totally get it, totally respect it. It does just feel strange.
Yeah, for sure. I'll say I've heard December for a very long time for that game. Since we first started being, it's going to be 2024. So it seems like it's part of the plan for a while now, and I think that gives me a little bit more confidence. This isn't like them scrambling to we got to hit 2024, so it's December. It's like, no, we're gonna go with December. That's the time we're choosing. And I mean, especially for a game that's going to be on Game Pass these days, I think it does change the calculus a little bit, because in the past year, you want to be before Black Friday, because that's when people are going to go to the store and actually spend money. But for Game Pass, it's actually the most important day is Christmas Day, because that's when people are opening their devices and turning on the game consoles and spending time with that.
Or if you're really good, set it up the night before and download it.
Well, yeah, if you're a true good parent, absolutely.
Well, no, I don't know. I just don't think I could have trusted my mum to do that.
Sure.
I think if you are tech, and also you do kind of take away the feeling of booting it up for the first time.
I think you have young kids. Young kids, you want to have it all up. I mean, those updates.
I got my nieces a Switch, and I walked I'm not gonna. Right. I love my nieces. So much.
But
have you ever tried to play Animal Crossing with a child who can't read?
Yeah. Yes, it's so frustrating. All like, God, they're trying to play. They keep wanting to play the Mario RPGs. I'm like, they're trying to read a book first. What are you doing?
No, my nieces, because both of them share one Switch, and you can only have one island. I tell them you can only have one, but they'll keep swapping profiles and just setting up a new island. So I was there for like 3 days, and it was just like the whole time of them setting up their characters, and I was like, fine.
Yep.
Fine. And that's the thing. I wasn't going to tell them no, like it's their game. They can have fun with it. But also my sister at one point looked at me and she was like, couldn't have got them a less annoying sounding game. I was like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just go get them the whole collection of rare games. That's my best try. Yeah, there you go. How are you feeling about Avowed before we move on here? I'm like, still think I need to play the game before I can make any real understanding of where I'm at, because I see the trailers and I'm like, man, I hope it's good, but I can't tell by looking at it. Where are you at?
I'm in the same boat where it's like, I'm excited about it. I love me some fantasy, but I don't think they did a good showing at that Xbox Developer Direct a couple months ago. I think that trailer was a little bit... I get that you are trying to do an all-encompassing thing where you are showing the you're showing the conversation system and how combat works and everything, but it was just like, I would have rather had something that was a little more focused, and then maybe they spend the summer or whatever direct that they do get talking about the ins and outs. There was nothing in there that really jumped out at me, but I do like Obsidian. I like Obsidian games, so I will play it.
Yes. And just to like rhyme people, this is the like first person fantasy magic RPG from Obsidian.
In the Pillars universe.
In the Pillars universe. Okay. And then last thing on this, when we get the new trailer for Avowed at Summer Game Fest this year, what are the chances that the trailer says from the makers of Fallout New Vegas?
Oh, 100%. Like they have to.
I think so too. I think that's almost a guarantee at this point.
Absolute guarantee.
All right, moving on here. Hasbro is investing $1 billion into internal game development. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Hasbro
didn't invest that money into keeping their employees, huh?
No, not in making it so that people would want to keep working with them on like sequels to one of the most popular games last year. That'd be weird. Hasbro is largely a company known for making physical toys, but it seems it is becoming more and more focused on getting back into the gaming space. Baldur's Gate 3 showcased just how popular some of its mini IPs are and how much money there is to be made in gaming. According to a new report from GamesIndustry.biz, Hasbro has already invested $1 billion into 4 internal AAA studios. We have the sci-fi RPG Exodus from Archetype Entertainment, the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe game from Atomic Arcade, the Dungeons & Dragons game from Invoke Studios, and a horror game from Skeleton Key. Dan Ayub, head of digital product development at Hasbro's Wizards of the Coast, was very eager about what gaming can offer the company. The biggest thing to take away, which is honestly a little surprise to a lot of people, is that Hasbro is in fact making video games, and we have a considerable investment in our studio structure. We've got over $1 billion in games right now being developed.
Wait, Dan Ayub from Certain Affinity 343?
Maybe.
Nah, is that the same guy?
It's
Oh yeah, it was. He was the former studio head for Halo.
All right then. Yeah, I mean,
and now he's at Wizards.
I think that this is both the kind of thing where it's like, good luck, Hasbro. It's probably going to be more than you can handle, and at the same time, probably the right move. Hasbro does have a lot of property.
$1 billion bet, though. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, big swings are kind of the only thing these companies care about, and they, like, their last big swing was, the Hasbro movie publishing studio that puts out all the Transformers stuff, and is Hasbro the one that does Barbie, or is Mattel under Hasbro?
Mattel.
It's Mattel. It's separate, right?
Mattel is Barbie.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. Well, either way, though, I think they're like, hey, we have these properties that people care about, and if we cash in on them, we can make a lot of money. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is something that is informing a lot of this. Problem is, Baldur's Gate 3s don't grow on trees. That is going to be a hard thing to figure out. Like, hey, let's make something that's like that. Again, that goes back to the good luck, Hasbro, right?
I was reading a really interesting article about, and so bear with me, it was about the book publishing world. And there was so many parallels to how gaming kind of works in terms of investment, in terms of money, where it's like book publishing, really not very profitable at all. If you look at the number of books who actually sell over 100,000 copies, it's very, very low. Yep. And so this all came out because of the court case when, was it Penguin Random House and someone else wanted to combine. So the big five would have become the big four, or the big four would have become the big three. And it was basically someone who was the head of one of the publishing houses basically just said, yo, we don't make any money, so we invest the big amounts into the celebrities, like the Obamas, your Amy Schumers, like they will get the big, and you hope that you find another Harry Potter. You hope that you find another A Court of Thorns and Roses. And that's kind of, you spend a lot of money on the hope that you will get one breakout hit. And that feels very similar to how a lot of gaming stuff
hit-driven business, where it's really hard to pick the hits.
Hit-driven business, yeah. And especially when you look at something like this with Hasbro, and yes, fuck Amy Schumer.
Yes, Jesus Christ.
Hasbro investing $1 billion into internal game development with just like for a game, like G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I mean,
if they did G.I. Joe with like a massive tongue in the cheek, similar to what, how Barbie the movie treated Barbie,
or even like Fast and Furious, right, where it's so over the top that it's like you can't help but laugh. Yeah.
Oh, and like Helldivers has that incredible sense of humor. Like I think if they did, I think the world has moved on from being super serious action.
Yeah, at the moment like for that, sure. Yeah, we don't want more of that.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my little thing. What I read that it seems appropriate here.
Yeah, I think that the trouble for these companies is they have this cash and their investors demand that they reinvest it. And they're only going to be able to make so many movies at any one time. And they're like trying to replicate that. And like, well, we'll try it with video games now. And I get why this is happening, but I just have very little faith that a company, even bringing in, people that have done this job and spending enough money, are going to be able to figure it out. I think they're going to probably take their lumps here in a couple of years and be like, man, that was difficult. Well, let's go back. Let's oscillate for several years between internal development and licensing out games, just like Disney has for decades. So if Hasbro, I'll be impressed if Hasbro figures it out. Not that it's impossible, and I get why they're doing it, but we'll see. All right, a couple more stories here. Korea plans to grow console industry in the next 5 years. This is from Sophie McAvoy at gamesindustry.biz. Korea's Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism has said it intends to grow the country's console market by 2028 in order to revitalize its games industry. As reported by Yonhap News Agency, the government unveiled a 5-year plan on Wednesday, aiming to reduce its reliance on mobile and online platforms and boost console sales. Consoles currently make up 28% of the global games industry, but Korea's share of this market is only 1.5%, according to the ministry. By comparison, the ministry reported 40% of players in North America and Europe play on consoles. I was talking to some friends earlier this week about like how consoles can grow in markets where they traditionally haven't done well, and some of the problems with that, Lucy, is look at Brazil. A PlayStation 5, last time I looked, this was years ago, cost like $1,700, $1,800, the equivalent of $1,700 US dollars. And the reason for that is
what console?
PS5.
What?
So that the reason for that is almost always tariffs. There are tariffs that these countries put on these imports to encourage these things to be made in that country, and then these companies never make them in that country. So tariffs push up the price, and you can almost never get rid of tariffs. And that's like the underlying point here, is that without direct intervention and an initiative from the government to change the way the market works, consoles don't stand a chance in a lot of these countries. So the traditional way of doing things will continue to be a way of doing things, and you'll never be able to break through as a company deciding, hey, we are going to go into Brazil and we're going to really do things there. That just wouldn't work. Now, on the other hand, South Korea is like, no, we are going to make an effort. We are going to make a push here. This is a potential way to grow the marketplace. But I don't think these companies, Sony and Microsoft, as we've heard from the last couple of months, them saying, hey, we're not sure where the growth is going to come from, can rely on these government initiatives. That seems like treacherous ground, right? Where you have to like hope the government sees this through. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's interesting to hear that a government is kind of wanting to support and grow in the gaming industry. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't realize the tariffs, etc., were that large. That's insane. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like more people playing games, fantastic. Would love that.
Yep.
I just didn't really anticipate this story.
Yeah, it's.
I guess. Yeah.
I
don't know, like.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say that, like. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. I mean, develop feature titles as well as support independent studios. It's like, how many games are even localized into Korean at this point?
Yeah.
You also have to think about it from that.
Well, I think for South Korea, I think they are noticing that Lies of P and now Stellar Blade are massive successes on consoles, and they're on PC. They're available on PC. Or no, Stellar Blade might one day be available on PC. Lies of P was available on PC. But they're like, man, Stellar Blade is like this global hit, and most South Koreans are never going to really get around to playing it, at least until it comes to PC. And that's annoying. And let's take a look at our video game industry. How's it doing? It's like Twitch is pulling out because it's like it's too expensive to operate here.
Yeah.
There's like headwinds, headwinds. God, there's headwinds in South Korea for gaming, even though it has one of the strongest video gaming cultures in the world, especially look at esports.
I mean, that's the thing, but it's like if you look at esports, if you look at things like Blizzard kind of dominates that, right?
Yeah.
In terms of StarCraft as well as Overwatch. What's the health of those games looking like?
Yeah, I mean, World of Warcraft seems like it's on the upswing.
Things,
yeah.
And League, I guess. Yeah, League.
Yep. All right. Let's take a look.
I just dropped this one in because Hammond of Texas dropped it in the chat. Thank you.
All right. So the Starfield update. Let's see here. Starfield's latest update is here, and it brings several new features with it. Improved surface maps. We've heard your feedback, and we've made some big improvements to surface maps, so you'll always know just where to go and no longer get lost. In quotes on the way to.
I don't like the fact that they put.
What, you got lost? Oh,
you got lost.
What are you? Are you stupid or are you fucking dumb? New gameplay options for those of you who like a bit of an extra challenge or want to make some aspects of the game easier. You can customize your experience with brand new options in the settings menu. Want to make ground combat harder but ship combat easier? You can do just that.
Awesome.
They added ship decoration mode to the interior of ships. Now you can decorate your ships just like you can with Outpost. That's something, because I really hated that's like the ships felt alive until you tried to do anything with them, and then it was like, oh, these are just completely sterile spaces, and I have no affinity for them because of that. Added tabs to container menus, to make managing your inventory easier.
Oh, thank God.
That's really.
I'm not going back to Starfield, but it was still insane that
just the idea, right? It's the thought that counts. Added dialogue, camera toggle in settings. Added display settings for Xbox Series X to prioritize visuals or performance on Series X. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole bunch of other changes.
Oh, this is. Have you scrolled?
I'm looking at it a little bit. What's up?
I'm still scrolling.
Oh yeah. That is a change log right there. There's a lot happening there. I'll just pick a random one. The Devil You Know quest improved where characters were looking in some scenes. Okay. Well, hey.
Yeah, I mean, improved the look of Rain Ripples on water.
Rain Ripples is my favorite adult film actor. All right, let's hit this last story here. Star Wars Hunters release date set for June. With a new trailer. We talked about this for a brief second on the podcast yesterday. This is from Nintendo Everything. Star Wars Hunters finally has a release date. Zynga announced that the game is launching on June 4th, 2024. Zynga announced Star Wars Hunters during a Nintendo Direct way back in 2021. While it was originally planned for that year, it ended up receiving a lengthy delay. Now it'll finally be available in just over a month. Do you have any memory of this game?
I'm Googling it immediately.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where they never really showed much gameplay. They've had a couple of trailers. I think there was like splices of gameplay here and there, but it's a mobile game that's also going to be on Switch at launch. And it's finally coming out 3 years after they announced it.
Okay.
I think it's honestly, I'm like, it's the kind of thing where I'm like, oh, I think I will try that because it's on the Switch. If it was just on mobile, I don't think I would have played it. Because it's also on Switch. I'm like, maybe I'll look into this. It seems
I'm
weird.
Watching the trailer again. I'm on UPF this week, and we're talking about Star Wars.
It's Star Wars slop.
What have I
It's
done this?
100% Star Wars slop. Like I'm recognizing that, but I'm like, you know me, I'll eat up some of that Star Wars slop. That's the life I've chosen.
What's the actual gameplay?
It's a 4-on-4 arena shooter. Set in the deep outer rim on the planet Vespera. The arena is a gladiatorial spectacle that brings to life the stories and legends of battles from the galactic history. Players can choose from a roster of new characters, including bounty hunters, heroes of the rebellion, and Imperial stormtroopers, and customize them with unique costumes, animations, and weapon appearances. The game features intense 4v4 third-person combat and multiple PvP game modes, each set in iconic Star Wars locales. Players can compete in Escort, where teams must work together to safely escort a payload, or in Control, where teams battle to defeat each other and take control of a central objective area. It sounds like mobile Overwatch clone.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you won't get me in that way. Good try, though. Art style looks a little bit like Disney Infinity.
Yeah. And I think that's a completely fair way to approach a game like this. Just make it
so colorful
and friendly. Yeah.
Yep.
Last thing, there's a 200-pound Fallout TV show backpack available for pre-order.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Oh boy. I was like, I want that, and I don't know why. I'm like, I like Fallout, but I don't know if I like Fallout like that.
Wait, hang on. Can I look at this backpack?
Yeah, go ahead and take a look.
200 British pounds.
Yes, 200 British pounds, and I think it's Lucy's backpack from the TV show. It's exactly that, and it looks really. I think it looks really cute, but mostly I put this in here, Lucy, because I know you have been playing Fallout stuff kind of for the first time. Are you?
Yeah.
Where are you at with that right now? Last time we talked, I think you're like, I'm having a good time with Fallout 76. I'm enjoying myself. Have you stuck with it? Has that maintained itself? What's going on there?
So I did not play over the weekend. I was playing more Another Crab's Treasure instead. However, I did finish the show, did really enjoy it. I am going to play Fallout 76. Fallout New Vegas. I'm
really enjoying that. I'm playing it again on the site tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, if you want to come sit in on that, you're welcome. I know you're busy, but you got it.
Thursday's my in-studio day.
Well, it's a good game. I am very on board with that. So I want to do that. I think I'm going to make an executive decision not to play more of Fallout 76, just because I was enjoying it. Weirdly, it got boring in multiplayer. The group. Yeah. It was not a good experience. I was weirdly enjoying it a lot more by myself. No offense to you guys, I still had fun, but like in terms of the actual gameplay, not being able to see what you were doing, like not being able to do quests and stuff together was insane. I mean, but I did. That is how a lot of MMOs work. Apparently, it's still strange, and I think that's the knock against it. Is correct that it's not very fun at that point, at least in a group. And I'm like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, I could probably get that running on the Steam Deck and get through that stuff single player and probably enjoy it. But there's so many other things going on that I keep flipping back and forth between them. But I mean, overall, like, are you a Fallout fan now? Would you say, like, including the games? I like the world a lot. Yeah. I will report back on how I feel about the games after I've played some New Vegas. Looking at this backpack, though, I will say, as someone who has pre-ordered items from Game before, and if it is made and fulfilled by Game, probably wouldn't. Well, I mean, remember the last bag that that Bethesda sold, that one that was like a pre-order bonus for the special edition of Fallout 76, and it was like falling apart and stuff, and people were like, this thing's rotten. Like, this material is literally disintegrating before my eyes. So wait, brought to you by the Wand Company. Ayo. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Ayo. All right. Hey, listen. Brought to you by the Wand Company. The Wand Company is a British. Oh, okay. Actually, no. I take it back. This stuff actually looks pretty good. Okay. But they were founded in 2009 to create the world's first real magic wand. All right. What kind of magic does it shoot? I don't know. Okay. But they just make Pokeballs and Pip-Boys. Yes, they apparently there's also a pewter Pip-Boy that they're selling as well. So yes, so they got Pokeballs, all kinds, Pip-Boys, a phaser, a couple of things from Star Trek, a phaser and a communicator, and 3 different kinds of sonic screwdriver. But most importantly,
there is a universal remote control in the shape of a magic wand.
Okay. Well, remote controls are the closest thing that we have to real world magic wands, so I'm okay with that. All right. We got a poll question. This is from Monday. Let me bring that up. Actually, got to frame it here. The poll question is: are you interested in a Game of Thrones game? I mean, there we go. All right. 26% said yes. 74% said no. That is pretty close. Again, these aren't scientific polls, but that's 3,000. They're not. Surprisingly, they're not. But that's pretty close to like when I asked, hey, do you want another Watch Dogs? It was 25% to 75% for that. And a Game of Thrones game kind of being in that same place for like Ubisoft being like, we're not making any more of those. People don't care about it. This, to me, if I were to like put my finger to the wind, I would have guessed this is where stuff lands with Game of Thrones, but I don't know. I suppose it's still a recognizable franchise, and if you're a studio like Embark, maybe you feel like you can do something with that. Did you hear that rumor that Embark, the people that made the finals, are reportedly going to make a Game of Thrones game?
I did.
It's like, how do you feel about that?
I have complicated thoughts about it because Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire was a franchise that was very, very important to me, and ultimately it all got like hammered out of me because I had to cover it in such a unique and intense way, and then I really didn't like the way that the show ended, and it soured it for me. However, the first 5.5 seasons were spectacular. The books are incredible. They're never gonna get finished. Yeah. I didn't really dig House of the Dragon, but it did do really well, and that's the thing. Like, cannot underestimate the success and the how recognizable the franchise and the property is. But in terms of translating that to a game, especially an MMO, it's like, what are you going to be doing in it? Like, are you going to be heading up your own house and vying for battle? Like, how's that going to work exactly? And is that going to be? Are you? If you are playing an MMO and you are heading up a house and you are basically trying to rule the North or rule, Westeros or whatever, how is that going to be able to be implemented in a way that is fair and not just, whoever spends the most time or money is going to come out on top, right? Like, I'm not saying no, but it would be cool.
I think at the end of the day, that game is going to work a lot like something like Fallout 76. A lot of single player content, and then you get to the end and you can do some multiplayer stuff together if you want. That seems to be the way these games just get made now. And also seems like a good fit for Game of Thrones, something that people are going to want a strong narrative and feel like they're an important part of that story. Okay.
PS Plus just got announced.
Yeah, I saw that. There was a EA Football Club 2024 dropped in there. Anything else
just
of note?
Call it FIFA.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I cannot believe, EA Football Club is the best thing they could have come up with.
Kind of like it. I don't know. I like it. EAFC. That's someone from the outside. I don't know. I kind of like it.
As a British person.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, they got anything else in there? I see Canoodles just posted this. Tunic. Okay, sure.
Ghost Runner 2 and Destiny 2 Lightfall.
Okay, there you go. Those are your May games from PlayStation Plus. All right, I got a new poll question. We'll get that up here in a second. In the meantime, Lucy, what do we have happening for the rest of the week? What do you have happening, and where can people find you on the internet?
We've got, oh god, so Jeff Bizarre Adventure this week. Just 2 bizarre episodes: Invisible Baby and going to the manga artist's house. Whoa, 2 very weird episodes in 2 very different ways. But if you want to go listen to that, it is, I believe, live now. Thank you, Jan. And then on top of that, we'll have Spot On this week. And I'm working on a bunch of stuff that you won't see until maybe the end of June. Yep. So I can't even really tease it, but I'm flying somewhere on Monday to do something cool.
Excellent. For Giant Bomb today, look out for Manor Lords happening relatively soon after the show ends. I'm going to do that up until I think it's about time for our meeting. And then after that, we will have Blight Club, the return of Blight Club, new season. I'm playing a video game. I don't know what it is. I'll find out on that episode. The reveals are always a lot of fun. You will want to tune in for that. I'm getting pretty worried though. I'm not.
Well, yeah. Every time someone shows us the art for it, you get, yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows but me. So we'll see. Yeah, that's happening at 3 p.m. Eastern time today, noon Pacific. Again, don't miss that. It'll be a lot of fun. I have to get dressed up, right? So at least you can have some fun with that. And then tomorrow, it's God. I know we're doing voicemail dump truck. I forget what we're doing the day. Oh, I'm doing New Vegas. That's more New Vegas. And then on Friday, we're gonna do a UPF. It'll be some Star Wars stuff, maybe the Fortnite skins, probably the Fortnite skins. We'll see. And then it's Power Bombcast this week instead of BCR. So look out for that as well. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Lucy, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games. I really appreciate it. That new poll question, are you interested in Star Wars Hunters? Yes, no, or I don't know what that is. That poll will be up on giantbomb.com on YouTube. Find the community tab there. You can vote on it. We'll have the results on tomorrow's show. Thank you all for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye. Oh, and tickets on sale Friday for the live show, June 9th.
Come, yes, in person.
The Bellwether in Los Angeles. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Oh, is Indica out? Oh, I want to play that.